The news hit South Central Los Angeles like a heavy cloud. Big Mike, a beloved fixture of the community, had passed away. For years, he'd been the quiet strength behind the counter at the corner store, handing out advice and free sodas to kids whose parents couldn't spare the change. For Snoop Dogg, Mike was more than an old friend. He was like family. Big Mike's only son, 17-year-old Isaiah, felt the world shrink the night his father died. The small apartment he shared with his dad was suddenly silent. There were stacks of bills on the table, Mike's Lakers cap hung by the door, and the echo of old-school hip-hop still lingered in the air, but nothing felt the same. Isaiah had always looked up to his father. Mike wasn't a man of many words, but every lesson stuck. How to treat people right, how to hustle honest, and how to find joy even in tough times. The neighborhood kids loved him, and Snoop often dropped by the shop, dapping up Mike, laughing about back in the day. Now, Isaiah wandered through the days in a fog. Friends tried to help, but their words faded behind his grief. School became a struggle. He skipped meals, barely slept, and stopped answering messages. Mike's funeral brought out the whole community. Old-timers told stories on the church steps, tears mixing with laughter. Snoop arrived quietly, dressed in black, sunglasses hiding his sorrow. He hugged Isaiah tight, calling him nephew, just like Mike always had. During the service, Snoop listened to stories of Big Mike's kindness, paying light bills, tutoring kids, always believing in the next generation. Snoop was moved, feeling the weight of responsibility to honor his friend's legacy. After the funeral, Snoop sat beside Isaiah at the repast. The boy was quiet, shoulders slumped, staring at a plate he hadn't touched. "You don't gotta say nothin', nephew," Snoop said softly. "I'm right here. We gon' get through this." That night, Snoop couldn't sleep. He kept replaying old memories. Mike teaching him how to shoot hoops, sharing mixtapes, covering for him when he was just another kid with big dreams. Snoop realized that now, it was his turn to step up. The next day, Snoop called his manager, telling him to clear the schedule. "I gotta take care of family," he said. He reached out to Isaiah, checking in daily, sending messages, trying to coax him back to life. Days turned into weeks. Isaiah slowly began to emerge from his grief. He started answering Snoop's texts, sometimes with just a word or a heart emoji, but it was something. Snoop made sure the bills at Isaiah's apartment got paid. Groceries arrived every week, no questions asked. But Snoop knew the boy needed more than just money. He needed a sense of purpose, connection, and hope. Snoop visited the shop where Mike had worked, chatting with old friends, gathering stories about the man who had meant so much to so many. He promised himself he'd keep Mike's spirit alive, not just for Isaiah, but for the whole neighborhood. One afternoon, Snoop asked Isaiah to meet him at the basketball courts where Mike used to play. The boy hesitated, then agreed. When he arrived, he found Snoop waiting with a basketball and a gentle smile. "Let's shoot some hoops, nephew. Talk a little, or not talk at all." "Up to you," Snoop said, passing him the ball as the sun set over the city. As days passed, Snoop made it a routine to check in on Isaiah. Sometimes they'd meet at the courts, sometimes at the corner store, or just sit in Snoop's car, music playing softly in the background. Snoop never pushed Isaiah to open up. He just made sure the boy knew he wasn't alone. Isaiah began to talk about his dad, about dreams they shared, about fears he could barely name. Snoop listened with patience, sharing stories of growing up, of making mistakes, of finding family not just by blood but by heart. One afternoon, Snoop handed Isaiah a package. Inside was a brand new notebook, a set of drawing pencils, and a note. "Write it, draw it, spit it. However you feel. Let it out, nephew." Mike had always encouraged Isaiah's talent for art, and Snoop hoped to reignite that passion. Isaiah spent hours filling the pages, portraits of his dad, sketches of the neighborhood, lyrics and rhymes that ached with loss, but also shimmered with hope. Snoop praised every page, hanging drawings on the wall in his studio, telling Isaiah, "You got a gift, man. Your pops would be proud." To honor Mike's memory, Snoop organized a mural project in the neighborhood. He brought in local artists and asked Isaiah to help design it. The process became healing for Isaiah, connecting him to his father's legacy and giving him a reason to look forward. As the mural took shape, Mike's face beaming from the side of the shop, surrounded by images of community and music. The whole neighborhood took notice. Kids stopped to watch, adults shared stories, and the block felt a little more whole. Snoop started inviting Isaiah to his music studio. At first, Isaiah just watched from the corner. But soon, Snoop handed him headphones and a mic. "Let's make something for your pops," he suggested. They worked late into the nights, blending beats with Isaiah's raw lyrics. The sessions weren't just about music, they were about finding voice, courage, and the power to create from pain. One weekend, Snoop surprised Isaiah by inviting him to a Lakers game, courtside. It was something Mike had always dreamed of doing with his son. Isaiah wore his dad's old cap, grinning for the first time in months. After the game, Snoop took Isaiah out for burgers and milkshakes. They talked about life, about the choices ahead. Snoop said, "Whatever you want to do, I got your back. School, art, music, you choose. I'm here." Word of Snoop's commitment spread. Local news ran a story about the mural, calling it a tribute to friendship, family, and the ties that lift us in hard times. People donated art supplies, youth groups volunteered, and other kids asked how they could help. Through it all, Snoop made sure Isaiah knew this was about more than charity. It was about keeping promises, building legacy, and turning loss into something that could uplift a whole community. Isaiah felt the change. He still missed his father every day, but now there was light in the darkness, a path forward, and a hand to hold along the way. As summer arrived, the mural on the shop became a neighborhood landmark. People came from across the city to see it, take photos, and leave flowers or notes for Big Mike. The shop's new owner, inspired by the outpouring of love, set up a community board where kids could display their own art. Snoop and Isaiah worked together to launch a youth program in Mike's name, Big Mike's Legacy Project. Its mission was simple: provide mentorship, creative opportunities, and a safe place for young people to gather, just like Mike had done for decades. Every weekend, Snoop brought in guest speakers, artists, musicians, business owners, who shared their stories and encouraged the kids to dream big. Isaiah helped run workshops, teaching drawing and creative writing. He was shy at first, but seeing the younger kids look up to him gave him new confidence. The program grew quickly. Local businesses donated snacks and supplies. Volunteers helped organize field trips, museum visits, concerts, art shows. Snoop covered the costs quietly, making sure no one felt left out. Isaiah found himself smiling more, laughing with friends, and making music with Snoop in the studio. Together, they recorded a tribute song for Mike, featuring voices from the community. The track was raw and honest, but full of hope. A song about holding on, moving forward, and keeping the love alive. On the anniversary of Mike's passing, the whole neighborhood gathered for a block party. There was food, music, games, and a candlelight vigil by the mural. Snoop spoke to the crowd, voice steady but full of emotion. Big Mike showed us all how to love, how to hustle, how to lift each other up. It's on us now to keep that going. Isaiah performed the tribute song live, tears in his eyes, the crowd singing along. For the first time, he felt his father's presence as something gentle, guiding, and proud. As the night ended, Isaiah looked up at the stars, feeling hope for the first time in a long while. Snoop hugged him tight and said, "You did good, nephew. Real good." Local media covered the event, calling it a celebration of love, legacy, and what happens when community shows up. Kids who'd never met Mike were inspired by his story, and the impact he left behind. The Big Mike's Legacy Project became a fixture in the neighborhood. New friendships formed, talents blossomed, and a sense of unity grew stronger with every passing week. Through it all, Snoop remained present, not just as a celebrity, but as a mentor, an uncle, and a friend to Isaiah and every kid who walked through those doors. A year after Mike's passing, Isaiah stood in front of the mural, surrounded by friends, family, and neighbors. The community center was alive with laughter, music, and the bright colors of new artwork created by the kids. Snoop took the stage, microphone in hand, and spoke from the heart. Sometimes we lose the people who built us, but their love, what they taught us, never leaves. We carry it on every day. That's how we honor them. He invited Isaiah up, handing him a framed photo of Mike and Snoop from years before. "Your family always," Snoop said. The crowd cheered as Isaiah held back tears, pride and gratitude shining in his eyes. The youth program announced scholarships for students who embodied Mike's values: kindness, hard work, and community spirit. The first recipient, Isaiah, whose art and mentorship inspired everyone around him. Isaiah's music and drawings began appearing at local galleries and on community radio. He never forgot his father's lessons, but now he passed them on to the next generation, reminding kids that their stories, struggles, and dreams mattered. Snoop continued to support the project, often stopping by just to hang out or share a new beat. "You ain't gotta do it alone, nephew," he'd say. "We all in this together." The block changed, too. New businesses opened, crime dropped, and neighbors cared for each other in ways Mike would have loved. The mural was repainted each year, growing bigger, brighter, and more full of life. Every year, on Mike's birthday, the community threw a party: music, art, food, and stories. Snoop called it the Heart of the Block Festival, celebrating the man whose quiet love had touched so many. As Isaiah grew older, he kept the lessons close: show up, give back, and love hard. He taught art classes, volunteered at the shop, and wrote songs about hope, loss, and the bonds that can never be broken. Snoop and Isaiah remained close, a friendship born from grief, but sustained by love and the determination to honor a great man. And in every drawing, every song, every smile, Mike's spirit lived on. The block was never the same, but in the best possible way.